Welcome to Scanner Inventory Training. Today we're going to look at using your scanner to take inventory in your store. To get the process started, you'll go to your scanner, navigate to the Scanner Function menu, and select Inventory. At this point, you'll be ready to scan the items in your store. And when you inventory your store, you can either inventory the entire store, or in order to make the data a little bit more manageable, you can inventory your store by department. Once you've gone through, scanned the item, entered in the quantity, you're ready to go to the next item and repeat the process until you've finished scanning your inventory. Once you're finished, you'll come back to your scanner software, put your scanner back in the cradle, and now you're ready to unload the inventory count from the scanner. With the scanner in the cradle, you'll come to your scanner menu and select Unload Inventory. When you select Unload Inventory, you'll be prompted to press the Hot Sync button. And the inventory count will be taken off of the scanner. Now you'll see your inventory submission dialog box has appeared on the screen. You'll notice that the most recent inventory is dated and time-stamped. You'll also notice that the submitted column is blank. Next to the submitted column, you'll have the total number of items, and next to that, the total number of records. The next step in the process would be to click the Submit button. And once the word Yes comes into the submitted column, you're ready to close out the inventory submission dialog box. And now it's time to go over to our Natural Market Watch site and log in. At our Natural Market Watch site, we'll enter in our login credentials and click on Login. Once we're signed into the site, we go to our Ordering tab and select Product Data Export. On this page, we'll make sure that the correct store has been selected, and we'll also select the most recent inventory. After we've made those selections, we now have to rank our distributors. We'll create a list, starting with the distributor we order from the most, and ending with the distributor we order from the least. You can use the Move to Top, Move Up, and Move Down buttons to get your list in the correct sequence. Once you've got your distributors ranked, you're ready to move on to the next step in the process, which is to assign to products. When we click on Assign to Products, we now have a list of all the items we've scanned into our inventory. Again, we'll make sure that our store, inventory, date, they've both been set correctly. And at this point, we'll have the ability to select a point of sale template. If your point of sale system is not listed in the template offerings, you can simply use the default generic template. Otherwise, you would select one of the brands of POS systems listed. Now we're going to review the items in our inventory. We're going to make sure that each item is associated to the correct vendor. We can scroll down the list, make sure that each product is associated to the correct vendor. If you have a situation where you order a product from multiple vendors, simply assign the vendor to that product that you order from the most for that product. Once our vendor list is configured correctly, we now have the ability to export the results of our inventory. So we'll click on the Export button. We'll select our desktop to be the location that we're going to save the file. The file name defaults to product list. At this point, you can enter in a more descriptive name. You might want to enter in inventory and then the department that you have inventoried. Once you've got the file name set, you can click on Save. And your document will then download. When I open up my inventory results, I have a text-based CSV with the results of my inventory on it. And at this point, I can then upload the CSV file into my point of sale system and finalize the inventory process. If your store does not use a POS system, it may be necessary to import that data into an Excel spreadsheet. Well, that's easy enough to do. We'll go ahead and we'll open up our Excel spreadsheet. And in the Data tab, we'll open that up and select Import External Data. When we select Import Data, we'll now be able to search for the data we want to import into the Excel spreadsheet. We know that our file has been saved to the desktop, so we'll go to the desktop and double-click the file. Now we're going to make some settings before we import the information. The first is the file type. The selection of delimited is acceptable for this particular file. We'll start our import at row 1, and we'll leave the file origin at the default setting. When we click Next, we'll set the delimiters, and in this case we have the data is separated by commas, and the text qualifier is quotation marks. When we select Next, we'll now be asked for the data format. We'll select Text, and then select Finish. We'll now be asked where we want the data put. In the existing worksheet is acceptable, so when we click OK, the results of our inventory is imported into our Excel spreadsheet, and we can now enter in formulas or make whatever data manipulations we need to at this point. That concludes our scanner inventory training. Thank you for joining me.